Good morning. Testing 1, 2, 3. Is this thing on? We're going to start it early. We still got 10 minutes until our friend joins us, so I want to make sure I get all the volume and stuff right. I'd like to have music on very faintly in the background, but still be able to hear him well. And so I got to hear this myself here. Okay. Am I in a trade? No, in fact, the opposite. Hell no. No, hang on. We'll talk. We'll go over we'll go over everything. Testing 1, 2. Wobble, squabble, double, yobble. Testing 1, 2. Okay, testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. 1, 2, testing. All right, so hopefully let's see here. We'll put the little verified investing website. Damn, look at this website. This is awesome. They're doing all articles and shit, man. This guy Gareth is a busy man. That dude is a busy man. Okay, now let me hide this screen really quick and okay. Alrighty. Join. Okay. Boy, I sure hope this is the correct meeting. Let's see here. Okay, just in case, I'm gonna okay, click that and that, and thank you for your pay. That's why we're gonna start early. I'll give you my quick breakdown. Hopefully this is the correct invite link. Just in case here is the alrighty. Ooh, boy, look at that pump action. Boy, I tell you that 4 hour money flows, obviously. Still coming up. Am I on mute? Nope. You know, every time I say I want to take a day off, super volatile action, super volatile. I feel like I don't know. It's like being a helicopter pilot. Is this too loud? Why is it so? Is this too loud? Okay. Can you hear me back here? Can you hear me up here? Can you hear me over here? I feel like it's like being my uncle had a helicopter. May he rest in peace. He's dead now, but and he had a helicopter for a while, and one day he got rid of it. And my father asked him, how come you got rid of the helicopter? And he said, it just felt like my number was coming up. And so that's kind of just the feeling I had. And it's I chunked out the account. So we're back to $1 million, and we'll trade it up again. Let's see if he pops in here. What time is it? Okay, we got a few minutes. Yeah, so I just felt like my number was coming up, and I can smell when my confidence gets a little lower. The price action was getting weird. The FOMC shit was today. Like, overall, I don't really think anything's changed, but this was some volatile shit. And your boy has to sleep. And that half a mil, I had to take it. I was tired. I was losing my voice. It was like 185. I ended up with 185 on the last trade. So we're all closed out. And we're gonna play a game today. We're gonna be Gareth or Bareth. I'm hoping this music is just faint enough where you can. Okay. I don't want to unmute, but I want it super low.
Hey.
Yeah. What's going on, brother?
How you doing?
Oh, you look so good. Man, I was just admiring your website. We were admiring the pull it up here in case we have people coming in. We're admiring the verified investing website, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, you got the squad, you got the team. I've been seeing your videos on Instagram and stuff, dude.
Yeah, man.
You're putting these
exciting.
Dudes to work.
We got some good stuff going on over here, and I love that homepage just because the homepage it's all free, it's all useful, actionable data, and it's like you know how this is. You go on X, you go wherever you go, and everyone's pumping their coin or whatever it is, and it's like no. This is a website where it's just the charts. The charts are all that matters. It's data driven. It's not emotion driven.
Man, you got the fear and greed index. I saw I saw like the debt count. You got your shorts here. This kid with the shark hat. This looks funny. You got the squad there. So you're really kind of, you've been doing your thing for a while, obviously. This looks good, man. You got articles and stuff. I saw the GameStop plummeted and stuff. And
yeah.
Yeah, man, it's good. Good to have you back. I think you're on vacation for a little while, right?
I was on the west coast of the U.S. getting out of the Florida heat for a little bit.
Well, where'd you go? So like Cali, Seattle, up and down. I'm not trying to figure out where you are, where you went, where you are.
No, that's all right. No, I used to live in Portland, so I have family back there. So we went back with the kids for 3 weeks, and it was nice. It's beautiful weather there, beautiful sunny weather. So it was nice to just get away for a little bit and then back to work.
So when you're on vacation, are you putting out trade signals too, or are you like fully diverged or half in, half out?
No, it's 100% in. I worked the same amount as I do here, man. It's no different. And that's just part of the deal. I signed up for it to give people trade signals and to give them videos and the game plan in the morning. And I don't want to disappoint. And I know people rely on that. So my wife and kids are accepting of that. And, we can go on vacation almost any time throughout the year as long as I have internet. And, I can hang out with them when I'm not working, basically.
You're a better man than me, man. I need time off. I take time off. You know what I'm saying? Like even today, like I was telling my people when before you showed up. Like my uncle, he's dead now, but he used to have a helicopter way back in the day, and then just one day he just sold it, you know. And my dad asked him, like, you know, how come he sold the helicopter? And he's like, it's kind of felt my number was coming up, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of, I know I've been doing this long enough to know when I get that weird icky feeling, almost like right before you fall for a crypto scam, a MetaMask scam. You're like, dang, should I click this? Something's weird about this. This guy's trying to invite me to a meeting, a calendar invite, and something's not right. And then that feeling is right. And so I'm as of now, I'm taking the day off. But every time I say that, within the hour, I'm in a trade. And so, but I got stuff to do today. And so, yeah, man, thanks for coming on, brother.
Of course. No, I love chatting with you, man. I wish I saw you more often. I haven't been to very many of the crypto stuff. So, but I know I saw some pictures of you out there with other big players. That was awesome, man. It looked fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to wiggle a little bit more in 2025 too. I only go to like Bitcoin. I went to like the Cardano event this year too. So I went to 2 events this year. I'm not going to Singapore.
How was that? How was that one?
How was it?
Yeah.
The Cardanzo or Nashville?
The Cardano one. I'm just curious.
It was cool. It was cool. Did a little poker tournament. Had a good time. You know, they definitely have an active community. I learned that the meme coin SNEC, I guess, is a Cardanza bean meme. It's a Cardanza meme, and so it was cool, man. I enjoyed myself. You know, I do bleed Vegas. I got Vegas in my blood, and you know, so it was good. It was good, man. But thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure. And what a day to have you on today. First off, it's September 11th. So
that's right.
Shout out to, you know, the country and all that, and everyone who's been through that. You know, it was a crazy day. But also it's also a crazy day in the charts. And you are I don't like putting labels on people. I don't like it when people label me that I'm a certain trader. I'm a day trader. I'm an hour trader. I'm a long swing trader. I just trade the stuff. But you definitely have a lot of trades that are in and out. And I don't know if you saw the thumbnail, but I wanted to play a little game called, you know, Gareth or Bareth. You know, that's a name that's kind of stuck with you a little bit.
That is. It's just because anytime you're bearish on something, people get riled up because God forbid you think it could go down for a little bit before it goes back up.
You don't gotta explain yourself to me, buddy. I sure as heck know these pencil necks. I actually have a little question for you before maybe we get in the charts. And I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but is there, with the communities in normal trading compared to crypto, Twitter and stuff, is it the same, or are there a few more pencil necks per se in the crypto space?
No, there's definitely the emotion in crypto is 10x what it is in stocks and commodities. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think part of that too is it's just the newness of it, the excitement, the new technology attracts younger generations, and then really it's the you don't get the same 100x type moves on a regular basis that you do in crypto. Like so it generally will attract smaller investors that are really like they're putting their last $1,000 in a trade, and so. If you speak ill of that crypto, I mean, it's life or death to them in a way, so I think it is a lot different in that respect.
Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, I see him every day. Okay, so for every one pencil neck in normal trading, there's 10 pencil necks in crypto. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I think so at least. And again, you have a lot of like in stock trading, there's a lot of bigger institutions, pension funds, all that stuff. So it really kind of changes the line where I think in crypto, people think you have a lot more power than you do. Like, hey, Gareth said it's going to go down and it dropped from 69 to 20, like he said, but really there was nothing. I mean, I didn't have any power. Like I wasn't causing that. It was just the chart. The chart just kind of told me that was the likely move. But again, a lot of people are like, oh, well, it was him. He has a big audience. In reality, in the stock market, these pension funds have trillions of dollars. I got no chance to compete with them.
Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm not manipulating anything. Like if I like, I'm not trying to fool anyone to fill up my trades where, we're not that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? Yes, well, thanks for coming on. I guess, Bitcoin's kind of going up and down. I'll kind of give you maybe my little thesis First, let me make sure that everyone has permission to share their screen.
Perfect.
Are you able? Okay, let me. Okay.
Right now,
Host only
no.
all participants. Okay, who can start? Right
Yep, now I can. Perfect.
Okay. So I'll share my screen, and I'm gonna be quick because you're the special guest, so I don't want to take up a
All
whole,
right.
the
I want to
whole
hear what you
time.
have to say. I'm very curious.
Well, I want you to go first. I want to see what you have to say first. Just kidding. Um, so I'm really looking at the different strokes, different folks, different time frames, different strokes. The 4 hour has been this money flow curvature is
Mhm.
what we love to see with pretty much any oscillation or anything. We love curvature, and this is bullish for us, and we've been trading it, we've been longing it for this past couple days, and pretty much knocked it out of the park
Beautiful.
up until yesterday, really up until today. But within that, it's like if you go to the hourly, it topped out, came down a little bit, and now hopefully it's going to be fighting up again. Now we're on the 15-minute little curvature here on the money flow, so it's wiggling inside. But on the grand scheme of things, if we zoom out and go to the weekly, in my opinion, we've topped out this cycle, or at least this year. And I think we're kind of just playing in here. Money flow looks a little scary. Money flow coming down. Momentum has been coming down. And I'm going to hit you with something else here on the 2 week. This is pretty much since the dawn of Bitcoin. We've had, I think Bitcoin's favorite number is 4. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 like cycles. And I think this is the last cycle of some super cycle, which doesn't really matter. But there could be probably, which I think we're kind of at the end of this bull run. We came up from 15,000, and it's hard to predict. There's a lot of things happening, especially at the end of this year. There's like 2 big things happening: the election, and then the cutting of the cutting the fund rates. I'm topsy-turvy on it, but I do believe that when the Fed cuts rates, last time during COVID, Bitcoin dropped 60%. And that day's coming up. I believe it's September 17th is when the cut is supposed to happen, which is right here. And so I don't know. I could see a total flash pump, then dump scenario with the Fed cutting rates. And then we have the election. So what I do know is going to happen for sure is volatility. We're going to see, and we have seen, an increase in volatility. The last few months, like up until about a month ago, the previous 2-3 months before that, we had very nice, like backed volume, heavy volume volatility that was rounded, very smooth, and nice to ride. For this past month or so, it's been more like a prickly rose, very, very wicky. And so I think we're just going to see more volatility. I believe we've topped out. And so I've just been trading what I've been trading a week ahead. And I think that's pretty much what I got for you on Bitcoin, bro.
Nice, man. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think I agree with a fair amount of that, to be honest. Here, I could show my charts and we can kind of dive into what I've got on mine here. You guys can see that, right?
Yes, we can. Loud and clear.
Awesome. Beautiful. So basically what we've been doing, right? We had our top at 74,000 right here. And then since then, it's been a whole lot of sideways to lower chop, which as long as it stays kind of within this channel is a bullish channel, right? It's a sharp move up, and this is all digestion of that move. So again, just like you run a marathon, here's your starting point, your end point. After the marathon, you can't run another marathon, even though everyone wants it to go to 100,000. So you got to rest a little bit and rejuvenate, kind of get that consolidation done with. Now, for me right now, there's a bullish bearish pivot line here, which as long as it stays below this white line here, I kind of remain in a neutral to negative bias where it could come down again and tag this 52.8 level, maybe even dipping to this 49,000 level. If by chance it can reestablish above this 61 level, then I actually think we at least test the high end of the channel, which would be around that 69,000 level. But again, my one fear, and this is a fear that really we could see happen last Friday when the jobs data came out, is that when the stock market got crushed, Bitcoin had a flush out. And I do worry that the stock market has made its all-time high for the foreseeable future, and there's going to be more significant downside. And if that happens, it does concern me that we could see significant breakage on Bitcoin below this level. So listen, I mean, I would say near term, I'm neutral to bearish. Midterm, I'm probably a little bit bearish because of the stock market influence. Long term, I still love Bitcoin. I still think it's going to 100,000. Just like you, I just think it may have topped out for the year. Maybe it has to digest a little bit more, get through this next 6-month period where we may see a recession, and then we'll reevaluate in the new year.
Okay, so we're pretty aligned. I know you put in, I think you had an option, or I know you shorted the S&P pretty far out. I don't remember what the exact price on that was, but to me it was a pretty boss move, because I think we are at the top, and right now, I mean, we've been calling for the stock market to come down for so long now. And it's almost like we invited the devil to dance. The devil has 2 feet, at least in crypto. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're going to be more synced with the standard markets. I guess the question is if inflation keeps going up, they're going to keep printing money. Is the price going to keep going up? Or is there just going to be, boom, like wiki flash dumps on the S&P, and then it ranges out and kind of goes? What was your short entry?
Yeah, so I shorted the Nasdaq and the S&P via some puts up here. I've already honestly exited those because I'm a quicker trader like that. So I mean, especially on options, you make a nice chunk of change on those type of dips. But I agree with you. I think, like, you know, when we're talking about, you know, you dance with the devil, meaning, you know, with the launch of the ETF, you encouraged more regular investors in the stock market to get involved, which means that it's going to be, at least in the near term, tied more to the stock market volatility with Bitcoin. And so I think you're very right on that, is that, you know, if the stock market dumps, it makes sense that some of those buyers of the ETF are going to panic, and they're going to sell as well. And so you have to expect that to happen. But I think over the longer term, eventually, I mean, everyone wants it to be the digital gold now, where it's kind of the safety hedge. It's just not there yet. But I honestly do really believe that it will get there. It's just like, you know, in the scheme of things, this is like an adolescent, right? Created in 2009, you know, where basically it's a 15-year-old, and a 15-year-old is not very logical. It's not very secure yet. And so you got to let it mature until it's an adult, if you will, and then it'll behave more like that safety hedge with inflation. And remember, the inflation narrative is a great narrative. I love it, but it's like a really long-term narrative, right? It's not something that, you know, like inflation goes to 5%. It's still not, I mean, 5%. All right, so Bitcoin goes up 5%. That's a normal daily move. You want to see that 20-year horizon where it's 5% for years, and then you're talking about double, triple price in Bitcoin.
Okay. So, and I mean, at least for me, I can only speak for myself. We have, 3 months left in the year, Q4. A couple major events, the Fed cut, and then obviously the U.S. election. And for me, that's a big cloud. It's a haze, and it's, you know, we can try to, like, we just got to take it day by day. And then, you know, after that, 2025, whether it's going to be a bloody year or like a green year, I think it's going to be a good year for us, for me and you.
It would be the 4-year cycle,
people.
right? It would be the beginning of the 4-year cycle, if I'm correct.
Yes, for Bitcoin, yeah, that's what I believe. Right now, we're at the end of a 4-year cycle. I know we've had 4 cycles since the beginning, and what it's been 12 years, I don't know how long, but I think we're at the end of the 4-year cycle.
I think so. No, I agree, man. I think that's exactly it. And then, you know, the big question is, you know, what's the outlook, right? So where does the economy go? And I think one of the things we have to remember is that, Bitcoin's a great hedge, but let's say someone's invested in Bitcoin with their only $10,000 and then they lose their job because we head into a recession. Do they have to cash out half of that to cover bills? I mean, these are lots of kind of question marks for the remainder of this year into 2025. But I definitely could see that 2025 at some point being the low end of that cycle where we start to then increase, and the narrative of that security safe asset as the Fed continues to print. And listen, it doesn't matter who's in the White House. I think you would agree with me on this, is that the printing presses are still going to be going crazy. I mean, neither candidate's going to cut back on spending. So it's just the end game is Bitcoin is king. And I think it's just a matter of people want it really quickly, right? They want to be millionaires and zillionaires really quickly. But I think this is going to be a trade that probably plays out over 20 plus years.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of feel like I just had a light bulb switch on in my head, which is, we've always printed money. We've always been printing money for a long time now. We're at like 30 trillion or something, 36 trillion. It was on your website.
Yeah.
And so unless we have like another COVID type deal, really it was the COVID printing, right?
That's right.
And that's and now it's like, okay, now we're kind of back to normal. It's still bad that we're printing, but we're kind of back to normal. So I guess we can see like sell-offs and stuff. So damn, that's bearish. That's bearish. I'm bearish, I think now. That I'm more bearish now on everything, since now we're kind of back to normal and COVID printing's done.
Yeah, and I think you're right. COVID printing was insane. I mean, again, people thought the world was ending, so it was all about, printing as much and sending people free money and all that stuff, although it was really tax money being returned. But I think the key here is also to understand that it might be back to normal, but now we're at a higher interest rate on that debt, and we're also at a level where now just the interest alone is basically $1 trillion a year. I mean, that's incredible. The other thing to remember, and this people don't, a lot of younger people just haven't been through enough cycles of the market or the economy, but you go back to expansionary periods when the economy was good, and that's when the government would pay down the debt, right? Because they had extra tax revenue, things were so good. And so they would pay it down to almost zero. And then in a recession, they would print a lot or spend a lot because you have to bail out the economy. You have to stimulate the economy. Well, we've had an amazing expansionary period for the last, really since the end of COVID, or since 2021. And all they did was run up debt. And so now you're coming into a potential recession when they really need to print more money to stimulate. And the question is, will the markets, will our debt holders, will the people that buy our debt tolerate that? And that's the question, man.
It's like, I mean, then it's like, do we have to start looking to other countries then? Like, is there any other country that's really not in this situation? I know Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, they say, I'm misquoting probably one of them, but they stick with America, stick with America. And it's like, well, that's how it was back then. And man, is that changing? Like, to be honest, I had a great time in Shanghai. When I was in China, I loved it. They do a lot of things right over there. I don't care what anybody says. They do a lot of things right over there. And we're more similar than what people think. I think the US and the Chinese. And so is there any emerging world markets? Is there any countries out there, that you think are kind of doing good, or like and that doesn't change politicians every 4 years? So it's good for 4 years, then it's bad for 4 years. I feel like this 4-year thing, we got to get rid of it. Give us a president give us a 10-year president, a 10-year king, and hopefully we vote the correct way. If it's shitty, make it shitty for 10 years. If it's great, make it good for 10 years. But is there any other countries you're keeping your eye on out there?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't know about a 10-year king, but I do like limiting terms, right? One of the biggest issues that we have is that, these politicians can be reelected over and over and over again for like their whole lives, basically. And so what ends up happening is they never do make the hard decision for what is right now, because it might cause a little pain and they may not be reelected in next 2 years or 4 years, which makes them always push the can down the road, right? Instead of saying, hey, listen, we got to get our debt under control, which is, we know that's the right thing. But if we do that, we're going to have to raise taxes and we're going to have to cut spending. The problem is, they're worried they won't get reelected because people will be mad that they're not doing as well. So that's one of the negatives about it. But I agree. I think you limit it to 2 terms, like, elect someone for 2 terms, be done with them, on to the next one. And then at least they don't have to worry about being liked and being reelected, and maybe they'll be judged when they're, when they're 80 years old or when they're dead, that wow, this person actually made the right decision for the country versus just doing what was right in the short term to make people happy. So having said that, I would just say, China, I would just say I like to buy stocks when they're beaten down. And the Chinese market, whatever you think about the Chinese, that's fine. But I think that when I look at Alibaba, Baidu, these are companies that their counterparts in the US are trading at like 30 PEs versus 8 PEs for Alibaba and Baidu. And so I tend to gravitate towards things that are cheap, right? I want to go and buy something on sale versus buy something where I'm paying a ridiculous premium. Those type of countries I do like. And then the other thing I would say is look to buy places that have a lot of minerals and precious metals, right? Okay. So if we're right that these central banks are going to keep printing all over the world, then the price of metals should go up quite substantially over time. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium, rare earths, all these, and that might be a place to go as well. So I do think that it's going to take time, but I do think that the US is waning, and I think there will be other countries that step in.
What's a PE?
Oh, sorry, price to earnings. So it's the main valuation metric for like a stock. It's like, what's their stock price to how much earnings they make. And then, so again, in general, we have US stocks that are so pricey historically to the norms. And then you have other countries where no money has wanted to invest. And so those stocks have become ridiculously cheap to buy. And it's usually, kind of like a wave. It comes in and goes out. So China's unloved right now. The idea is maybe we get a bounce back in those names. And again, it's not to say there's no risk in China, right? I mean, there certainly is. But I do think that they've actually started to warm up a little bit to their own companies and also to the world, because I think they know they kind of screwed up when they were really being rough and kind of going after their own companies as well as global markets. And that really put us in a position to their economy's hurting because of that.
Okay. Darn, I had a good question and it slipped away from me. Dang it. What day is it today? Okay. All right. Oh, I remember my question. I remember the question. Okay. So when I go to, Wells Fargo, they're always trying to get me to enter the market right now. And I like the reports. I like the quarterly reports that the Wells Fargo people give me and stuff. And when they try to get you, they stick 3 people on you. When they pitch you and they set up the meeting, you have 3 guys talking to you, which pisses me off. Would you, I know like diversifying is a good thing, but let's say if you're a young kid, you're out of college, you want to put some money away. I mean, if you want to make a big play to just not trade, but put it away and hold it. I mean, would you go in right now, or would you kind of wait for the cards to fall, or do you not know, or do both?
So, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I certainly am more in cash or in short the market right now. And I would generally say, look to the people that I look up to, Warren Buffett, right? He just keeps dumping and raising more cash. And, even though he's not the hippest investor anymore that's in crypto and all that, the guy still has a track record of decades of amazing returns. In fact, Berkshire Hathaway just became another $1 trillion company. So he just keeps dumping and raising cash. That makes me really nervous. You have a lot of situations or a lot of signals that are pointing towards a recession. And if that's the case, earnings are going to go down for stocks, and therefore stocks should come in. A great one would be the yield curve, right? So historically, if you look at the yield curve, it inverts. There's no recession. Then when it uninverts within 3 to 6 months, there's a recession. And that's historically data set tells us that. And so we've just uninverted on the yield curve. You got to start thinking, hey, 3 to 6 months out, we're probably in a recession. That's not really when you want to be jumping into stocks right before a recession.
So besides like Warren Buffett, do you keep tabs? And I know we're busy. There's only so many things, so many indicators, so many things you can look at and do. But have you looked into kind of tracking what politicians are doing? There's a website, I forget the name of it. I'm trying to find it right now. There's a bunch of them, but there's one in particular where they really track all the politicians and what they're doing like with their moves. And sometimes it's like, yeah, okay, it was a month ago, you know, but you can still see if you know, Elizabeth Warren is buying NVIDIA, or you see them buying like biocell, cloning, engineering, freaky stuff kind of stocks. And that's a strategy I've been getting more into myself. Do you track any political operatives? Do you guys look at that at all, or not really? It's a good chart.
I don't. Not to say that I don't, keep my ear open for when it's reported, because I think it is interesting to know. But, I think overall that for the most part, if you look at the whole basket of trades of most of these politicians, they're mediocre, right? They hit a lot of good trades, but it's usually during a bull market. So they're affected by emotion, just like you and me and every trader out there. And you got to give her credit. She's made some good moves. Nancy Pelosi has, but at the same time, I just think that politicians, it's not about whether or not they do have insider information to me. It's just the perception. And, you got to start making people feel better about their government. And it's certainly when someone's struggling and then they see, oh, Nancy Pelosi, just made $10 million on NVIDIA calls, it doesn't make them feel like the system is fair. So, what I would say is, these politicians make a couple $100,000 a year. I don't even care. Jack that up to 300, 400, but don't let them trade to keep that impropriety or that look of impropriety out of the mix. So I don't follow it, but on a hardcore basis. But I do think that, again, I can understand why it looks shitty, frankly.
Okay. So I found it, and I'm going to share my screen with you so you can kind of just get a little rough look of what it looks like here. Okay, let me find the share screen button here. Okay, so it's called capitaltrades.com, and they have a whole bunch of different filters and stuff. That Tommy Tuberville, if you look up Tommy Tuberville, that this guy is a whiz. He's buying. See, there's a biotech ETF, man. They've been biotech. They've been buying biotechs hard, selling Intel, selling Cleveland Cliffs. I don't know who that is, but Tommy Tuberville, this guy is a genius, dude. This guy is a genius, Tommy Tuberville. So capitaltrades.com. This is the best one that I've found where you can pull up anyone.
Wow, that's actually really cool. That's great. Now, does it give you the date that? Oh, it does give you the date they traded it or they bought it.
It does. There's a lot of like here. Let me click this. So okay, filed after 30 days. File it, and so it gives you a whole lot of information. I mean, you can go pretty deep in this stuff, and so there's a lot to it. But this website, capitaltrades.com, might be worth taking a look at sometime. You can probably write some.
I will. That's
endless articles. You got guys writing articles for you, bro. Endless content, right? Tommy Tuberville just sold biotech. What the hell's going on with biotech? You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. I think that's awesome, man. So cool.
Yeah, so I'll
cool.
I'll forward that to you. Okay. Gold's doing good. We always talk about gold every time we have you on. I ended the screen share with you, but I think you should still be able to share your screen.
Perfect. Yeah, I can do that.
My gold theory came up to be true from many years ago. I don't need to hammer that. We talk about. I say the same thing every time, so I don't want to say it again. But are we looking to bust up in a new channel up there, baby? I think gold. It's a what's it called? It's like a value one or a tier one asset with like the world bankers now or something, right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that was one of my biggest signals coming into 2024 was that, the central banks around the world were just loading the boat on gold, right? And so, for me, it's sometimes it's as simple as just saying, well, what are the people that print the money doing? Wow, they're buying crap ton of gold. Well, maybe I should be long gold, Kind of almost like the politicians, right? It's the same kind of mentality there.
Yeah. I'd almost feel safe enough to say that we never see a $2,000 gold per ounce again. That's how we spent so much time under 2,000 and knocking on that door so many darn times. Right, and gold's had its dips before, but Man, there in a world of so much fakeness, authenticity and realness sells right now. Man, we had lines out the door in Chinese and Thailand all over around. Normal people, when they were buying gold at 2,000, the price wouldn't move, but now the big boys in town, now the central banks are buying. There's probably none left. You know what I'm saying? There's probably not even any gold left. You know?
Yeah, no, you're right. The miners are starting to perk up, and yeah, I mean, it's I do think gold goes a lot higher. I think next year we'll see 3,000 on gold. Don't be surprised if we get a little pullback, just because pullbacks are normal. So it wouldn't shock me to see us come back to the low end, 23.65 or so. But for me, it's just buying opportunities. Buy on pullbacks until we get north of 3,000, and then we'll see how high it can go. I mean, I got some crazy targets where I was looking at, well, what happens if we replicate, the percentage move that we saw in each bull market in gold. Like, this percentage move was 765%. This bull market that started in 01 that lasted to 2011 was almost 700%. So, I mean, you can do the math. If you take this low from 2015 and, let's say it's another 11-year bull market cycle, I mean, you're talking about 700% up on this thing. And let me just do that math right here. Let me use this tool.
We went, 600, 500, or 765? Yeah, what would be 400, 500%? Let me move this so people can see the price.
Right around $5,000 to $6,000. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And there's many ways you can invest your retirement in gold. Everyone's always buying gold. There's never been a Super Bowl or a commercial at some point, that didn't say we're buying gold. Unlike Bitcoin, we had one Super Bowl, maybe 1.5 Super Bowls to buy Bitcoin, and then shit hit the fan at FTX. You know what I'm saying? So gold ain't never going anywhere. The aliens liked it. We like it. So, okay. So I'm liking those targets. So we're Gareth on gold.
Yeah, Bulleth. We'll call it Bulleth and Bareth.
Yeah, all right. We're Gareth on gold.
All right.
What are we Bareth on? What do we got? That we're Bareth on? No, but besides crypto and shit, hit us with some old white man boring stocks and shit.
All right,
what's some good Bareth
that's
stuff?
Pretty freaky. You ready for this? This is getting into that freaky stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the S&P 500 on this side, which is the current S&P. And what we're going to do over here is go back to 07. And this is going to be pretty scary stuff here. Okay. At least for me, it is. All right. So we go back to 07, which is when, remember, that was just before the Great Recession. Right? So if we look at the chart, look at how identical it is in terms of the price action. Okay. So I'll walk you guys through this. So leading up to the all-time highs this year, we had this move up, and it was a 6% correction.
Okay.
Here in 06, we had a move up, 6% correction, exactly 6%. Okay. We then had our big bull run to the all-time highs, We corrected. The last correction that occurred in early August was 10%. This correction was an 11% correction. We then shot up in 07 before eventually we know the end game here. We just shot up, and now we're starting to roll over. We started to roll over.
And what happens next? No!
Exactly. We just zoom out on that, and you're talking a move down of epic proportions, 66% move down. So little things like that. Listen, it doesn't mean it has to come true that way. I mean, this is all just looking at the data, looking at the charts, the similarities. But I think it's important that charts are created by humans that are buying and selling, and our emotions never change, right? 1,000 years ago, emotion, there was still greed and fear. And so it makes sense that charts can replicate previous moves, and it holds pretty true. So we'll see if this turns out to be a major top here before a bigger move down, but it certainly could be.
How long is this downward move on the right here? What's the time span on that? Oh my God, it's an eternity for 100 years.
500 days. So about a year and a half. Yeah. All 18 months. Or so.
We can work with that. You know what? Everyone's bloody and bearish on the dollar right now. And they love it one way and they hate it the other, especially the Bitcoin people. Everyone's bearish, so I'm bullish. But when everyone's bullish, we're bullish. You know what I'm saying? So everyone's hating on the dollar, and for good reason. Yeah, for good reason. But I'm bullish on the dollar now.
Yeah. So now, what's your time horizon? Are you just saying for the next 3 months, 6 months,
Yeah,
a year?
you know, however long that chart is you just showed for 2 years. That was 2 years for 2 years.
Yeah.
I
Been
don't have a
trending up,
Dixie.
man.
I don't have a dollar chart in front of me. I'm looking at you. But
Yeah, this
whenever
goes
the
back to
stocks start going down, shit
2011,
hits the
right?
fan real soon. Shit's gonna hit the fan real soon.
Yep. Yeah. So if, at least for me, the dollar, it probably does have some more downside, which could make sense if the economy weakens like I think it is, and we have a recession. Then we could see the Fed needing to print more money, the U.S. government printing more money. But I don't think, I by no means am seeing the de-dollarization that everyone screams about. Like, currencies don't work that way. You don't take a reserve currency and in a year all of a sudden everyone just dumps it. It's a longer process, usually 10 to 20 years at minimum. So eventually, yeah, I mean, I think eventually it's not the reserve currency of the world, but it's just going to take a lot of time. Shorter term, I would be a buyer of the dollar down here around 95 if it gets there.
You know what we have going for us too is it's actually something that could be corrected quite quickly. Maybe not for a long time. But America still has power and we have buying strength. America's always been the number one customer. And so if we get somebody in power that says, we're not going to buy from you anymore unless you change that, and that, unless you get rid of that brick shit, get rid of that, or we're not buying anything from you, they'll do it, for 4 years, you know what I'm saying? Then it starts all over again, but at least slow it down. That's my thought. I could be wrong, could be right, but I think I'm right.
No, I think you're right too. I mean, the U.S. still has the most power in the world about, swaying, because the consumer here in the U.S. is we buy so much stuff from all over the world. So essentially, if we go into a recession, it generally means the whole rest of the world goes into recession.
How's the real estate stuff looking? We know we got the commercial real estate loans are supposed to be going ass end up. Commercial real estate, at least where I am, it might not be as bad. I believe rents have come down. Maybe a little, they've come down a little bit for commercial real estate, which is businesses and stuff. But I know that was a pale horse, so to speak. And that's kind of like a gunpowder barrel that we've been kind of eyeing for a while. Commercial real estate, shit hitting the fan. Do we have any thoughts on real estate and that stuff?
Yeah, so I think commercial is in the toilet right now. I still think there's probably a couple more years before I would start venturing in to start accumulating some of those commercial properties. But I do think that the housing market is starting to crumble. And again, it's starting more so in Texas, in Florida. I'm here in Florida, and some of these condos are now going at 40% off asking. So it's starting in the condo market, mainly because the HOA fees are so high because of hurricanes and all these insurance stuff going on. But the kicker is this: yes, rates are coming down, but they're not going back to pre-COVID or COVID levels of almost, 0%. And so it's going to still remain high. And what happens when people start losing jobs? They can't pay their mortgages, which means more foreclosures. We're already seeing, inventory down here in Florida in these other areas skyrocket. Now, granted, not back to pre-COVID levels, but we're getting back there pretty quickly. Yeah. And so I actually think, if people are looking to buy houses, within a couple of years, 2-3 years, you'll get a pretty darn good deal.
Okay, a couple of years. That's kind of how I'm thinking now. Like we just in at least in the hot spots, there's like 5 states that are hot spots in the US, and the buying feeding frenzy has definitely slowed down. And it's like, these realtors they always complain. Realtors always complain. And it's like, what, you guys had it real good for like 4 or 5 years there.
Time, yeah.
God forbid, what I'm saying, if it slows down a little bit for you. They're never happy in a buyer's market, seller's market, a buy and seller's market. They're never happy. So okay, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I agree with you. A couple years, so we're on that same thing. Commodities, the price of commodities has gone up overall, but as of now, they're pulling back a little bit. And typically at least in the modern times, with a Democratic U.S. president, we can bank on the prices of commodities going up. And with a right side president, the price going down. The prices have gone up so much, though, since the COVID shit. I almost think that, we've gotten so high, it's like we have to come down either way. And so normally I would think, okay, well, if Democrat wins this election, it's kind of like an instant trade. It's one of the easiest trades ever. Democrat wins, you long commodities. Democrat loses, you short it. Do you have any feelings on that? Do you think that might change? Like, is our predictions the same no matter who wins or who loses this time, bro?
Yeah, I'm not a believer that it matters too much who wins or loses this time, because I think the economy is the more major factor here. And one of the things is, I mean, we talk about breadcrumbs about what's coming on, and Jerome Powell said, "Hey, we're expecting a soft landing, no landing." The mainstream media, soft land. I'm seeing commodities collapsing, like industrial commodities. Oil hasn't collapsed yet, but look at this breakdown that just occurred over the last couple of weeks on the daily chart. I mean, that is a big breakdown. I think we're going to $40 a barrel on oil over the next 12 months. That's a huge confluence of major technical levels. But if that happens, it tells you where the economy is for us to get down to $40 a barrel. And then just look at some of these other commodities. I mean, like nickel, for instance, this one's incredible. The drop that it's seen recently, it was just going back to May of this year. It was up here at 21,700. It's now at 16. I mean, that's a massive drop, low end of the range. And then you could even look at other commodities out there as well that are industrial based, and they've had big drops. And so, I mean, even copper is one of the main ones I follow for an economic signal. And look at this fall on copper. I mean, it's stabilizing a little bit, but again, it's not a pretty picture. And so at least for me, it could, different cycles determine, where the economy is. If the economies are neutral to strong, then I do agree with you. I think then Democrats generally, you'd think oil would go up. But in this situation, if I'm right that the economy is nearing some major trouble, then oil's going down regardless.
Damn, that's like, but it's like I feel like a baby with his candy was taken away from him, because the last couple elections, the last few, it's kind of been just a no-brainer. In fact, I think it was the last two elections were some of my best days ever.
Nice.
So, I don't know, we might have to kiss that one goodbye until next time, I guess. Maybe not this one, but maybe the next one. So, okay. I feel like that's kind of I feel like we kind of hit it all good. We might want to leave the people wanting more than feeling like they've gotten too much.
Yeah, I never want to get people to not want to watch me anymore.
Yeah, well, that's that's almost impossible. Jeez, yeah. Well, I could watch you for a long time, but
thank you, buddy.
There's a couple rumors floating around. You guys are shake, rattle, and rolling over there. You guys are doing good over there. You building a squad. You have Instagram people coming through your office all the time. Your website looks amazing. I love the name verified trading or verified investing. I'm sorry, verified investing.
That's all right. Yeah, thank you.
And man, you've been kicking ass. No matter if these people from Bitcoin are hating on you because whatever trade you've done or whatever, no one's 100%. Get over it. Like, there's nothing more unattractive than someone who's just stuck in their ways, and it's like someone you can't reason with. And we gotta, there's a problem with that in general with mankind, but it's a big problem we have in crypto. Big problem. Yeah. And so I love you, man, and I appreciate you coming through here. And do you want to shout out your socials or something?
Yeah, just you guys can find me on Twitter or X under Gareth Soloway, and just come check us out at Verified Investing, man. I really think that the goal there is to make a website that is so useful to investors, that kind of delves into stuff that most institutions use, but most investors don't. And it always bothered me that, especially in my early career, I was like, how the heck are these institutions just crushing it and I'm always losing money? Yeah. Well, it's because we don't have the same tools. And that's really what I'm trying to give people through Verified Investing, is the technical know-how, a lot like you do as well with your stuff. Yep. This is stuff that retail doesn't usually use, and they should use it. And we explain it super simply and let people use it. So pretty cool stuff.
Gotta have the tools. And man, you have a long running, signal group, trading group. You're posting trades every day. You don't take any days off, apparently. So my salute off to you. I don't know. I wonder what your price is to buy you out for a day. I'm like, we're gonna buy you out for a day, and you can't say anything. You can tell them goodbye. You can tell them goodbye. I'll see you in 24 hours. We're gonna go party with Crypto Face.
I for partying with you, I would just tell them there's no price. Just I'll do it. Let's do it.
Right on. Thanks for joining us, man. It's always a pleasure. And let's do it again. So before the year's over, man, there's going to be a lot of shakeups going on. Maybe we'll let the Fed cut and rate, let that go around election time. Let's have you back on, brother.
I would love that, man. Reach out. I'm ready to do it tomorrow if you wanted to, buddy. Thank you so much. And it's really a pleasure as always, man. You're awesome, dude.